Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. It's the Poseidon 1 from GENEINNO underwater submarine, underwater ROV or drone, whatever you want to call it. Trying to get my cat off the table, but he's just like fast asleep. Let's see if we can see him here. There he is. Our one-eyed cat, Pokey. So he's going to be possibly part of this review unless he decides to leave the table. But anyway, he's with us on this one. I've done a lot of reviews on underwater drones, guys. There's the P3 over there. Over here in the background, you can see that this is the PowerVision Power Ray. Still doing some stuff with this one. And I did a bunch of stuff already with the Chasing Innovation Gladius. Here he is there. More to come with these guys. But today's all about the GENEINNO Poseidon 1 underwater drone. So let's unbox it and get started. This is just going to be the unboxing video. I'm going to do several other videos. We're going to have a pool test, an ocean test, and also a freshwater pond test, looking for that Mavic Pro I lost with this one as well as the other ones. So as you can see, this box is giant, but I'm actually kind of impressed at how much stuff they fit in this small box. Of course, this is the box it came in, not damaged at all. Seems fine. And let's just take a look at the box real quick. So we've got nice color graphics on it here. We can see over here on the bottom, it's got, it can do 120 meters of depth. So that's actually over some of the other ones. It's got an HD camera, so not 4K it looks like. 5 hours of battery life, so that is actually pushing it more than the rest. Possibly because it is a smaller drone, less weight, and maybe it has bigger batteries in there. We'll have to check on that. You can do live streaming with it. It does iOS and Android. You can have both apps for both ecosystems, and it also has Wi-Fi. So we're gonna see how all that works. Anyway, flipping it over to the first side, we can see that we've got two colors. I got the orange version. That's the orange there. It looks pretty cool. Just getting it back up on the table here. And here is some of the specs. So if you want, you can go ahead and pause this and read some of those specifications. I'm not gonna read them all out, but these are the tether length and all the specifications of the battery. And keep in mind that one of the main aspects of this one is it only does 1080p. So a lot of the other ones do 4K, but this one may be better actually in other avenues, and we're gonna be testing all that in the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned for all that stuff. Anyway, enough talking about the box. Let's go ahead and unbox this thing. So it did come in a great condition, no damage to the box whatsoever. And check this out. So here it is. Looks like it's well packed with styrofoam. Yeah, so you can see all that styrofoam in there. Okay, still surprised that the cat has not moved off the table with all my stuff I'm doing right now. But here is the carrying case. So a rather nice case. It's aluminum and it's a little bit smaller than, say, the one that's very similar looking to the one that comes with the Gladius. But this one is definitely much smaller. It does still have, it just looks like a smaller version, but it does still have the handle here like a suitcase. Little rubber stops here. It's got wheels on the bottom. A nice handle here with a little bit of a rubber squishy support on the bottom here. Looks like that's the only handle. So if we go ahead and lay this thing down and let's open up the latches. It does look like it has key lockable latches here. And let's see what this thing's all about. Cool. So you can see on the top of the case we have this foam here that's going to kind of hold everything together. And here's all the stuff. I'm just going to stand up here and go over this with you guys. We'll take everything out and then we'll get to each part individually. There's the manual. This looks like a wall brick, the actual charger. This looks like the figure 8 connector with a US adapter to plug into your wall and the charger. And look at this thing. So what a great job on a tether. Let's pull this thing out. Look at this. So this is a step up from the rest of the drones I reviewed. We get a handle and a rotating stand and a tether and everything. Just took the bag off of that and there you go. So it's that 100 meter tether, I believe that was. Did it say 100 meter on the box? We'll have to check on that, but look at that thing. So that's how all of these subs should be. What they should be doing is giving us a real stand like that. There's keys here and there's thumb screws and a couple of brackets. in this bag, so we're going to see what that's all about pretty soon. Nothing else in any of these holes, and here's the actual drone itself. All right, so there we go. The Poseidon 1, there he is. It's wrapped up in this plastic, but you can see how small it is. So it's definitely smaller than the Gladius. It's small. It's the smallest one I've had so far. Looks like the last thing in the box is this little guy. It looks like a wireless kind of dongle, so we can attach it to the tether, but it will still, looks like it'll spin with the tether and reel, and we're gonna be wireless to our controller. Speaking of controller, I don't see any controller in here, so I guess that's the little bit of a con with this one, is I'm not getting a controller in this box. Just went over and grabbed the controller from the Gladius, so that yellow sub over there, that's what came with this controller. So this is just a generic USB controller that kind of extends. You can just slide your phone in there. So I may just use this with this one, see if it works, or I think you can also just use this directly with your iPad or phone if you want to that way. But I always like to have some kind of hardware controller with these guys for more precision control. So we may end up using this one. It does have this kind of male lip here on the case, and then on the top of the case it kind of has a female lip right here, this channel. But the foam they put in it here and in here on the edge of that there's foam. It seems like it gives us a better seal, and so it's going to definitely be like splash proof. Definitely not waterproof. If you throw it in the water it looks like it's going to leak, but definitely splash proof from some waves and splashes. Okay, so got everything on the table. Cat's still there. Had to rotate the table, and I can't believe hasn't jumped off yet. But anyway, here is the Poseidon 1 manual. I just wanted to go over this really quick, and since this doesn't come with a controller, it seems, I just wanted to see with you guys how this is connected. So here's a good overlay here. You see how that we put this buoy, I guess you call it. This does look waterproof too, so it looks like it can go in the water. I'm not sure if it'll float, but it looks like it's mainly supposed to attach to the reel stand there. To give us that wireless signal to our portable device is the initial type of connection they say you can do with it. And then also you can see them connecting here with a Bluetooth controller. Again, I'm probably going to be commandeering this Handjoy controller, this universal controller here that I got with the Gladius for this review. So at least we'll be able to have some kind of hand control aside from just the portable device. So you're going to be charging, it looks like, one at a time, so we can charge the actual Poseidon with that charger, unplug that, and then we can charge with the same cabling and everything. We can charge the buoy as well. And this is interesting. So there's a page here for VR goggles. So it looks like you can possibly purchase a separate controller and the specific VR goggles. You see how this is the top view of the goggles, and they have all of these buttons on top. So if you do get that extra, it's showing you how to use and connect the goggles. Something I'm very interested in is the capacity of the battery. And here it is here. It's a 9,000 milliamp hour lithium battery, and 5 hours runtime, 2 hours charge time. And then the tether, it looks like they have two lengths available. So one is 98 feet, and then one is a 328 feet. So you can either get the set in a 30 meter or a 100 meter tether option, and the tether is this thing around this spool right here. Okay, anyway, that's basically it. The rest of the book was just Chinese on the other side. So let's kind of delve in a little bit more into these things and unpackage them and see what they look like. This first thing here is going to be the buoy. There's a little bit of a FCC stamp here. It is saying that the buoy battery is a 3200 milliamp hour, and this is going to have that Wi-Fi module in it. And this is where we're going to plug in the tether and also plug in to charge it. Okay, same kind of thing. Here is the actual Poseidon 1, packed up nice and tidy in this plastic wrap. I can pull that off and check this guy out. So a nice bright orange, you know, like an ocean orange. And this thing seems really rigid and bulky and durable, just feeling it in my hands here and how thick this plastic is. Definitely the plastic is a step up. It just feels like it's gonna, you know, take more hits and be more durable underwater. It's definitely several millimeters thick. Everything looks good. There's the port we're gonna put in our tether, and the port we're also gonna charge it on with that single charger. Looks like we've got vents here for the motors. There's our vertical motor. my initial thought was this had two propellers. They were stacked one on top of the other, but it seems like the top propeller is a super almost vertical bite here, but it doesn't move. And then the bottom propeller is the one that's attached to the motor, and this is the one that spins. Okay, so the top one is just, it must just be for the physics of it all, to scoop the water in a certain direction and correct it for the way the motor's spinning, kind of like a torque roll you would see in RC cars. But check this out on the bottom. I'm seeing these inset little brass anchors here. They're screw anchors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what that tells me is possibly we can put some attachments on this. So that's very promising. 3 just stainless steel Phillips head screws here holding in the bottom to around the propeller there. Again, this is a very durable feeling marine plastic. We do have a little FCC sticker here, and it is saying that 9,000 milliamp hour battery. Spinning it around to the back, here's the 2 rear propellers, and they both also have kind of fixed looking propellers in the front of the motor. One has a concave of the propeller going that way, and then the other side has the concave going the opposite way. I really like the design so far. Look at that. The motor is just completely encapsulated in this plastic edge here, so very durable. Looks like it's going to be able to handle a lot of bumps and scratches. I am seeing a hole here on the bottom. This looks like it's filled up with like hot glue or some kind of marine glue, and it looks like that's going to be the screw hole to hold the back of the body together. Moving on to the front. Here we go. Check it out. This is the video, the camera, and the lights of the whole thing. So look at that, 4 high-powered LED lights, and they're all encapsulated behind this. Is this glass or plastic? Well, there is a protector there. Check that out. So we'll pull that off. The glass covers everything except the camera lens. So the actual camera lens here is inset in the glass, and it looks like that's all glued to become waterproof. Because apparently the camera shooting probably through this plastic. This doesn't look like glass. This is definitely plastic. I'm already seeing a couple of scratches around the edges of this plastic. I think that's why they did this, just to keep the camera lens as clear as possible. And of course that lens there is glass, so you're gonna get the best possible image if you don't shoot it through this plastic here. But very interesting design. You can see those high-powered LED lights. I want to look and see exactly how much power those are putting out. There's only 2 LEDs and they're putting out 600 lumens each. But apparently this thing has 4 LEDs. So I'm thinking maybe they did an upgrade before they upgraded the manual, because this looks like it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. And if they're all 4 putting out 600 lumens, that's going to be a lot of light. So I'm definitely excited. Anyway, we didn't check out the side yet. So just a very simple side. It's just like a black centerpiece here, surrounded in that orange plastic. Nothing special. Does seem very solid though to the touch. Everything's very compact. All right, so guess what? Let's put this guy over to the side here. Hopefully we don't disturb Pokey too much, but he seems like he's just fast asleep. I want to show you guys this tether real quick, and then we'll kind of put everything together, put the app on, and make sure that's all working. Okay, so this big thing here is the tether, and look at this thing. So it's got this handle here. This is like a rubber. You can see the metal in here. So it does feel like it's aluminum. I'm thinking this whole stand here does feel aluminum. So that's nice and rigid. And we can see that we've got a actual handle to roll the tether up. So this thing's gonna be rolling like this, so that's great. The stand of the tether has this nice foot here, so you can have that on the shoreline with you or on your boat or wherever you are. So you don't have to worry about this thing really moving around. You could actually just, you know, put something on it or even put your foot on here while you're controlling the rover in the water. So something that is a step above some of the other drones that just come with like just a little handheld reel that you've got to manually put the tether around. So there it is. That's how it spins. It doesn't seem like it's really on bearings or anything, but I don't think that really matters, because I actually think a little bit of resistance is good instead of this thing just spinning too easily and just unraveling unnecessary. So I actually think that's perfect with the amount of resistance it has. Spinning it over to the front, you can see that here we have our actual connectors. So really nicely done here. We've got a little Ziploc package over this end. You see how it's kind of fixed and it's short right here. It's just fixed right in here. This is going to actually be for this guy here, the buoy. So this screws on. It's got a little notch there, so you only can put the actual buoy on one way, the connector. So you just spin it until that connector falls in place and push that in. And this is all aluminum. This isn't plastic. This is all aluminum material here. So very durable connectors. We do have a little O-ring, so we're going to want to keep some silicone gel on that O-ring. Put this down for a second. Let's check out the other side of the tether. Okay, you can see how that just kind of clipped off there. Another little bag to protect the connector. And this is the side that's going to actually screw into the Poseidon 1 over here on top. So you can see how this thing works. So this end is attached to the inside of the reel, and that's going to go to the sub, and it's going to unravel or bring it in as you reel the reel in. So a very, very good system. And of course, that's why they made this little buoy wireless, because you wouldn't be able to really reel it if you had a connection directly to the controller. So this allows you to spin this reel without, twisting up a cable. And I'm really liking these little divots of where you can just pop in the connectors when they're not in use. So really good job these guys did. Now let's see how this thing goes on to the side of the tether reel. So I'm seeing a little divot here in the front of this side of the buoy, and then there's a little divot there. So I'm assuming it goes on that way. Okay, it looks like there's multiple ways to do it. Oh, okay. Pokey finally wanted to get off the table. I guess I'm making too much fuss. Anyway, here we go. So I'm just going from one end to the other and sliding it. Let's see if it notches in a little better. It seems a little bit loose there. So it does seem a little bit loose. I'm just barely pushing it and it's coming off. So it looks like what we could do is take like a little thing and just bend this little notch out a little bit, so it gives it a little bit more tension to lock in this divot. Okay, so it looks like you're gonna need something kind of sharp. So I just got this unboxing knife over here, and all we need to do is kind of shove it into the back of that little divot. And I don't want to pull it out too much, but just enough to give it a little bit more tension. So slide this thing up again. There we go. So that thing's not coming off until you give it a little more force. That was coming off just a little bit too easy the first time. So that's how that thing sits on. And then all we're doing is screwing this onto here. You can see it light up right when we screw it on. That's pretty cool. And this screws on nice and tight, just screwed on finger tight. There we go, and that's how we reel this thing. So the Wi-Fi module is gonna spin, and it's still gonna be connected to your device, but you can roll it up or unravel it. So I really like that. There's one last thing I just wanted to open up. They give you this little bag here, and you know what? Now I'm thinking that this is what attaches to the bottom if you wanted to put extra peripherals on. So there's the keys for the case. And then look at this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 thumb screws. So you know what I'm thinking these are? I'm thinking these are possibly ballast modules. Of course, if you go in freshwater, as you may know, or if you don't know, if you go in freshwater or saltwater, you've got different buoyancy. So your neutral buoyancy is going to be affected by freshwater. It should be a little bit heavier, so it's going to sink easier. In saltwater, since you have more salinity, more salt in the water, it actually makes this thing more buoyant. So if you go in saltwater, you're going to need a little bit more weight on the actual drone. So you screw one on there, and then you can screw one on here. And of course, you want to do two possibly to lock that thing in place. So I'm thinking you're going to want to put these on if you're going in saltwater. At first, I thought it was some kind of bracket, but you can definitely, that doesn't close the opportunity for it to be a bracket to screw something on there. All kinds of potential options for screwing into these little anchor holes for devices you might want to put on or stuff that they may add eventually as peripherals. Okay, anyway guys, I think that goes through everything as far as what the hardware looks like and unboxing. Let me get one of my Android or iOS devices and let's connect it to the app. I'm going to download the app and let's just see what it looks like in front of the camera here before we go out and do our pool test and our ocean test and all that stuff. We just want to see how that app looks up close. Okay guys, so let's get this thing connected. So I went ahead and downloaded from the Android App Store the ROV, GENEINNO ROV app. See if we can focus it in there. Plug in the buoy, kind of like we did before. And by the way, this is the battery power. There's 4 lights, so this is fully charged here. You see these 4 lights, and then this is supposed to be the Wi-Fi signal here. So we see 2 lights, one's solid and one's flashing. We'll roll out a little bit of cable here, and we'll plug in the actual sub. Okay. And listen to that. Infamous ESC beeps have just come on, and it sounds like that thing is booted up. So check that out. There's actually 3 lights now. We have 2 solids on the Wi-Fi and one's blinking. So that must mean that it's all connected and ready to go. Now what we'll want to do is on our Android device, of course you can use iOS, but I think what they're saying in the instructions is only Android's working with a Bluetooth controller right now. I don't think they have the support for iOS with a controller yet. So I'm going to be using this Android. First thing we want to do is go into our wireless settings. So I want to disconnect off of my home network. Okay guys, and unfortunately with my Android device, which is the LG G6 phone, I cannot for the life of me find the GENEINNO Wi-Fi access point, which that buoy should be putting out. So I'm going to actually scratch using it on my Android phone and put this on the side, put this away. Unfortunately, that happened to me with another sub. I can't remember which one it was, but for some reason, buoy was putting out more of a Chinese channel for the Wi-Fi, and this Android phone couldn't pick it up. So it does look like though that my iPad does pick it up here. You can see that it does say GENEINNO 26E9. So we're just gonna have to try to connect to the iPad for this one, and hopefully I can work that out with them and see why that's not connecting to my Android. Okay, I almost forgot that if you do have like a Bluetooth controller connected to your tablet, you won't get the keyboard that pops up because it's thinking this is the keyboard. So I just had to disconnect the controller, and then I did go ahead and punch in the code. It's in the manual of what the access code is, and now we are connected to the GENEINNO output for the buoy. And now what we can do is go ahead and close this up and launch our GENEINNO application. So I'm going to go into drones, launch GENEINNO, and check it out. So we have a portrait mode here. We can see that we have settings, we have videos, more, help, pictures, and info. I'm gonna try to turn this to the side. Nope, looks like we're just using portrait right now. And let's try to go into our info here. And check this out, this is pretty cool. So we can see a compass there on the bottom. We got some readouts here. Let's see if the other stuff moves. Yep, so tilting it up a little bit, we can see that that plane there is is moving on the accelerometer. And we have some information there. Thrusters left, middle, and right, all 1468. We've got some more information here. Runtime, that's how long it's been on, I guess. Firmware version, server version. We've got battery voltage up at 12.3. Battery current, storage space. So it looks like it's got a 30 gig card on board there. Then we got our temperature, got our depth here, and temperature of the water. So go back out of here. I don't see any imperial measurements. That is metric, so it would be nice. Let's go see if we can see that in the settings. So we've got a water setting for sea on and off. So that's freshwater, seawater. We've got control mode, explore, or sport. Interesting. So I'm sure if we put on sport mode, it's probably going to be faster. Maybe for higher current, we're going to want to do that. Photo settings, if we turn that off, we can do burst shots, and we can select our intervals and how many shots it will take. That's pretty cool. We can adjust that here, 10 and 10. I'm just going to leave that on. Single shot. Then we have our record settings, duration minutes. Okay, so we can set how many minutes we want for it to do each file until it stops and restarts a new file, just in case you get some corruption perhaps. 5 minutes seems like a good interval. When you're editing, you can always combine all those together. It looks like all the settings we have, so not very many features here in this iOS app. I'm not sure if the Android is going to be a little bit better. We'll go and check out our pictures. We've got pictures on the ROV. There we go. Looks like we've already got some pictures we can view. Okay, well, it looks like somebody tested this thing because this isn't a picture for me, so that's kind of interesting. Looks like a pool. Somebody was testing this in a pool, probably in China, before they sent it. All right, there's, wow, look at that. Look at that tether reel. that's a little bit different than mine, isn't it? They were testing it on the table, making sure everything worked. So there's a shot of how the picture looks outside of the water. Let's go ahead and hit done. Go back, and then of course we can have local that's on my tablet or on the ROV, and we can download those as we see fit. Let's check the video. Let's check if they shot any video there in China too. Wow. So lots of videos here. Let's try some. So I'm gonna play that one. There we go. So that was a quick little one. Here's another one that's 93 megabytes. Okay, so here's how it is in the pool right now. So this is interesting. I would have thought maybe they would have erased this stuff, but I actually like this because it lets you know that they're testing these things underwater before they ship them out to make sure they're all working good. So there's a little sneak peek of how this thing's going to perform in the water. It looks just like a little rudimentary little pool there that they're testing it in. Just make sure all the controls work. Okay, so we kind of went through most of the stuff here on the screen there. What I want to do is I want to get into the controls. So if I tap the screen, I have this little box icon that pops up. I'm going to press that and check this out. So this is getting us into, looks like it won't auto rotate. So this is getting us into the actual menu here. So here we go. So I'm hearing the motors move as I'm pushing up. Okay, left and right, forward, back, and here's up and down. So up and down are spinning this motor here, the vertical motor. When I press left and right on the tablet, it's spinning these two left and right. And then when I'm pushing forward and back, it's spinning them at the same time for forward and back motion. Looks like we can put in multiple inputs. Seems like it's working fairly well. I am moving my tablet and I'm actually seeing the compass kind of move around while I'm moving the tablet up there, so that's pretty cool. So right off the bat, not the nicest interface. It's a little bit blocky, not so great. Let's see if we can change between photo and video. Take a snapshot. My volume is up and I'm not hearing anything happening, and I have no indication that pictures were taken. Let's go into video. Let's try to start a video. So that's working. Okay, it looks like it is focusing pretty well, pretty close up. I'm pretty close to that tether there and the buoy, and it looks like our focal point, the best focus, looks like we're right around 6 inches or so. It's really clear, so you can get really close into stuff and have a really nice and clear picture. You can see how clear that is. It's very nice and clear on my iPad. A couple of other things up here. We've got our lights. So if we press flashlight, there we go. So we can see that our lights just turned on. Can we adjust the lights? No, we can just turn them off and on. So it's just fully off, fully on. What else can we do? If we press this here, that looks like possibly a depth hold. Yeah. I just heard the motor kind of activate. So this may be a depth hold here on the top. That might be the speed. So we have 1, 2, and 3 speeds, it looks like. The only other thing I'm seeing is down there. I can kind of see a little 3D graphic. You see that of the sub as I move it around. It doesn't look like it's rotating left and right. It's just going kind of up and down. Let's see if we lift up the front, what we can see. Yeah. So all it's showing us is the pitch and the roll from the back. Okay, so if you're in really murky water. We can see that we have temperatures up here. We have depth. We have time on. And then we have our signal. That's going to be from this tablet to the actual buoy over there. Okay, and then this is battery power. I'm assuming this is going to be the battery power of the Poseidon there, right up here. Quite a bit of readouts here, but not quite as polished as some of the other drone manufacturers. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get out of this, and I'm going to try to link up this controller here. So I'm going to push this one. This is the Handjoy. I'm going to push it over to Apple. It does Apple and Android. And let's see if we can connect. I am bound via Bluetooth to the iPad, but it doesn't look like this controller's doing anything. The only thing I can do is control it through the controls on the screen. So anyway guys, I hope you really enjoyed that little unboxing, setup, and look at the app with GENEINNO Poseidon 1 underwater drone, underwater ROV. submarine. I guess we're going to try to figure out what sticks with this one. So anyways, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget the links down in the description down below. You can check this thing out, how much it costs, more of the specs, and where you can buy it from. And I will see you in the pool test and the ocean test, guys, and a lot more subs like this, a lot more reviews like this to come. Thanks for watching.